Our lesson plan is based around the invasion game of basketball. The learning outcomes that we set for our lesson plan included: student understands the importance of practicing fundamental aspects of basketball. This could be met and demonstrated by the students by answering the questions that follow the dribbling relay, which include: what is the importance of practicing different types of dribbling, and when may you use these different types of dribbling? And the passing relay, which includes: why is it important to practice passing? Displays an understanding of movement and why it is essential in the game of basketball. This could be demonstrated in the protect your ball activity, as they needed to use different skills and movement to protect their ball from the other students. This learning outcome could also be met by answering the questions that followed the protect your ball activity. Students could demonstrate this outcome in the end zone game by using movement tactics such as moving into space to receive the ball. We decided on these learning outcomes as we made connections between the curriculum and our learning activities.
Using the teaching strategy of providing a visual demonstration of the activities assisted with students that were speaking English as a second language with the instructions and rules of the activities and games that were completed in the lesson. It is important to verbally explain and visually demonstrate activities, as students may be a visual, auditory or kinesthetic learner. This teaching strategy helps to demonstrate the learning outcomes so that students know what they are trying to achieve in each activity. GameSense is an Australian version of Bunker and Thorpe's Teaching Games for Understanding model. GameSense was developed through collaboration between Thorpe, the Australian Sports Commission and Australian sports coaches in the mid-1990s. The GameSense approach is essentially a student-centred approach. The purpose of the activity or game is taught to the students first, and then how the skills are completed follows. This approach highlights tactics and decision-making and makes the game the focus of the lesson. Therefore, a disadvantage of using the GameSense approach is that students learn at different levels and it is difficult to cover all bases without singling out students. However, an advantage of this approach is that it allows students to develop their own skills and understanding whilst being actively involved in the game.
The first activity in our lesson plan is a dribbling relay. We split the class into 4 even teams. Students completed 3 relays, first dribbling on their right hand and then dribbling on their left, and lastly using crossovers.
I knew it wasn't right, addicted to this high.
The second activity is called Protect Your Ball. All students have a ball inside a marked square. The aim of this game is to tap other players' balls out of the square whilst protecting your own.
Third activity in our lesson plan was a zigzag passing relay. We set the class in a zigzag formation and the ball was passed down the zigzag. First bounce passes, then chest passes. And the fourth activity was end zone ball. The class was split into 2 teams. Teams have 1 person in their end zone to catch the ball to score. The players pass the ball around their team members to get to their scoring end and pass into their end zone. Throughout the game, adaptations should be made, such as incorporating different passes practiced and adding a 3-step and pass rule.
Changes that were made from the first lesson to the second lesson included: in the zigzag passing drill in the first lesson, the students were 1 long zigzag line. In the second lesson, we changed this to 3 smaller groups, which then increased time on task in this activity, which then gave more time for the students to show they could competently complete the task and meet the standard of the learning outcome. Also, in the last activity, end zone ball, this originally had a rule that students needed to complete 7 passes before passing it to their teammate in the end zone. We removed this rule as it was too complicated for this age group. Feedback we received after our first lesson included: to modify the passing relay to maximise time on task. Also, good use of language, it was age appropriate, the right volume and the tone of voice was calm but firm. Colour coordinating teams with colours was helpful and shortened time between activities. Also, we used visual demonstrations for all activities. We discussed safety issues and put rules in place to try and prevent unsafe behaviour. Also, good positioning of the class to face the wall so as not to get distracted by the other class.
Feedback we received after the second lesson included: add more one-on-one feedback, pull students aside and give a demonstration. The use of smaller groups and activities helped. We used good verbal and non-verbal signals to gain students' attention. The flow of activities was good. We started off simple and progressed into more challenging activities. The use of getting down low to students' eye level to engage them in questions about activities, and the use of a bigger scale game at the start of the lesson to broaden students' knowledge on why they needed the skills that are involved in the activities.
Time on the highway to never hold on.